years pass, the rain is over and gone, the flowers appear on the earth, the time of the singing of birds is come, and the voice of the turtle is heard in our land. Here it comes. He struck him out, and Morris has a no-hitter.
There's a drive to left. That one is long gone.
You don't want to walk you.
There's a long drive to right, and it is a home run for Gibson. A 3-run homer. The Tigers take it 8-4.
There's a long drive all the left down the line. If it stays there, it's gone. If they fair ball, hits the facing of the upper deck. Home run number 50 for Central Fielder.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roar Live, the Tigers, Eyes on the Tigers edition. One day before the opening day of home opening for the Tigers. Tomorrow, they play the Chicago White Sox. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, folks. We have a Roar trivia. We decided, hey, we need to put that on for the Tigers. And, Jared, I think we're going to go to what the trivia question is.
Right
that
off
way
the
we
bat,
get people pondering over that.
Yeah.
So the question this week is, what team has the Tigers played most on opening day? Is it Cleveland, Chicago White Sox, Boston Red Sox, or the Baltimore Orioles? Now, today will be tomorrow will be the 125th home opener for the Detroit Tigers. So that is the question. Feel free to get in on the chat. We are on the Kavana Broadcast Network and also the mymichigantv.com, YouTube and Facebook. There's the QR code to get in on the Zoom if you want to talk baseball. That's basically what we're going to be talking about today is Detroit Tigers. We're going to talk about opening day memories. Favorite Tiger players of all time. We're going to be getting into the Tigers comeback after a 6-game road trip at 2-4. I know we talked a little bit about last week, Corey. I said I thought they would come back 500, close to it. We're going to talk a little bit about Cy Young winner Tarek Skubal being 0-2 to start the season. And we'll get into pitching and hitting stats. And we will preview the homestand series starting tomorrow, 3 games with the White Sox, and then the Yankees and the Torpedo Bats come in Monday for a 3-game series. So, what did you think of the first 6 games?
It was roller coasterish.
I thought so.
Yeah. It was roller coasterish.
Understatement.
Yeah. So opening day, tomorrow, they call it the party, but they're back here against the White Sox. And they need to sweep the White Sox. They really do. What I thought about, I heard a lot of stuff on radio this week past against, they're playing the Dodgers. Everybody keeps saying, oh, it's no harm to lose to the Dodgers. Yeah, it is. It is harm. You could have won some of those games.
Yeah.
So
especially with Skubal.
Yeah. They've played like, I looked at the roster again today. They made too many mistakes. They don't look good defensively. They don't hit enough. And the key players on the team, the Rileys, the everyday players, they're not hitting, they're making mistakes. So you got Torkelson, who's having a red hot start.
Yeah, batting .318, 7 hits on the year so far.
He went 0 for 4.
Okay.
Yesterday. So here's the thing. Stop putting so much pressure on the kid. All these announcers and people on radio, Torque can carry him. Relax. Relax on that. But overall, a lot of miscues. Pitching wasn't that great. Now, Mai surprised me. But they got a lot to clean up.
Yeah.
Moving forward. They do. Because this team, they're not winning. The only good thing they got going for them is the division stinks. That's it. everybody's tied for first place right now. That's the only thing they got going for them. You should have cut bait with Baez. This is what it is now. We see what this is now. But a lot of miscues, some coaching stuff. I love Hinch. Some base running miscues, not hitting at the right time, runners in scoring position. A lot of stuff to work on. A lot of stuff to clean up. I'm not impressed, and I'm not worried right now because it's still 6 games.
Sure.
So.
Well, you are watching The Roar live right here on mymichigantv.com, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. We have a special guest in studio with us. This happens to be my dad, William. You can call him Bill. We'll call him Bill. I wanted to bring him in. Me and Corey we were talking. We like talking to baseball with our fathers, and we always have a conversation in the morning somehow or another each and every day about the Detroit Tigers. So I said, Cole, why don't we have my dad come in?
Perfect.
And he's like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So he's got a lot to talk. He has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Detroit Tiger baseball.
Yeah. Well, let's add, what do you think of the first
few games?
Yeah, first 6 games.
Now, my observation is this.
Okay.
Not necessarily pertaining to the way they're playing or what have you. Why do they start the season so bloody early? I'm sorry, when you're playing in March, and then the Dodgers, they played 3 games.
Yeah, we're all ready.
It was just I'm never used to seeing them play till at least April. Around a second or third or something like that.
Right.
And then the year progresses and what have you. But as far as you're talking about the players defensively, et cetera. How many of those guys are playing positions they never played before?
This is true. This is true.
Like Keith and first base. Just thrusted right into it.
That's true. That's
true. Now somebody outfield, Baez out in center field and what have you. Like, what's going on, guys?
Right.
And that seems to be the big thing that they were looking to get in the offseason, signing these guys for go out of the minor leagues, and when we need you, we'll bring you up. And what I mean, they have picked up a couple good fellas. The guy,
Manny Margot.
Yeah, there you go. He's done well. He seems to be, good at the plate and what have you. But I think that, like Sparky used to say all the time, but the 40-game mark.
Was it 40? 40? Yeah, 40.
Well, I'll let you know how we're going to do.
Right.
But that's just my 2 cents worth.
Well, the thing about Sparky, he had a bunch of better players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh,
that's the thing.
Definitely.
So he had a bunch of better players. Like I said, Scott, I was looking at the key players, and the guy with the highest career average is Riley Green or Sweeney. Carpenter or Riley Green at 268, 260. This is these guys are who they are. So, like I said, you should have cut bait with Baez, I think.
Baez is batting 300 though.
Right.
Let's see here. I have him at 3-10.
Well,
3 out of 10.
So this is why baseball is so hard.
Right.
Because you can bat 3 for 10 and still be batting 300.
Right.
That's why it's such a beautiful sport. But at the same time, he lets the straight fastball go by, and he swings at the ball 30 feet out, off the plate. That's who he is. See, and that's what I'm saying. These players are who they are.
Why do you think that is now? Why do you think he just the American League kind of figured him out? Because he was a pretty decent hitter in the National.
Now he had the 2 All-Stars, and I think at once he hit maybe close to 3, but nobody hits 300 anymore, so I don't expect that. But his career average is only 260.
Right.
So these aren't great hitters that they have on this roster. They just are not. Maybe they run into I think maybe if they hit at the right time, that's what they're going to have to do.
Right.
And Scooble can't keep this up. I'm not worried about Scooble, but he can't keep this up.
Is it alarming though that he's 0-2 to start the season?
Yes, because he's the ace. You expect him every time to go out.
Because I would have thought if anybody could have pulled one game out of that Dodger series, it could have been Scooble.
Yeah.
But from what I just don't feel like they're giving him enough run support.
They're not. And not enough defensive, defense support. It's you when he's on the mound, you got to win the game.
Right.
That's just it. That's what's going to keep you in this hunt. Because you never know what you're going to get from Flaherty or Mike. You never know what you're going to get from it. You know he's going to come out every fourth day or every fifth day and do what he does. I'm not worried about him, but you said figure it out. This is what guys in professional sports get paid to do. They get paid to figure you out.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Torque, he had trouble with the fatter. Looks like he had to work on figuring out. But they're going to come back and figure. That's how this all works. That's what makes the great players great, being consistent and getting over that figure out hump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what makes Tony Gwynn so great. I'm not trying to keep it, but he figures it out. And he knows they're going to figure it out. So he adjusts. This game is all about adjustments. And the Tigers need to adjust quickly. It's still early, but they need to adjust quick. They need to sweep this. I'll have a problem if they don't sweep this series.
Yeah, Cole Keith only batting 176. We talked about it last week. I wonder how much of that is maybe he's thinking a little bit too much, moving him over to first, so he's got that to worry about. You hate to think that maybe. Well, we always, my dad and I talk about this too. Sophomore seasons, teams kind of catch on to you.
Yeah.
What kind of adjustments can Cole Keith make?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big question. I think in the next couple of months, because at this pace, even though they did sign him to that big extension, you almost might have to do the same thing that you did with Torkelson.
Yeah, he keeps this up. He's on his way down. So the good thing, when everybody comes back, if they come back healthy, what has to happen, I think, in order to keep all of those players in the lineup, Torres is going to have to go to third. He's going to have to. If Torque keeps up the pace what he's doing, you got to put him at first, and Keith has to go to second to make it. None of them are great defenders. None of them. Baez used to be. He's terrible. He's more slick than anything. But none of them are great defenders except Meadows. Riley Green is an if. But those infielders, they're going to have to put Torres at third in order to keep Keith. If, like you said, this could be mental. But Torkelson is your best bet at first. So they're going to have to do that. So I don't know if Torres is okay with that or if he's going to be, able to do that, but that's the best bet.
And him being out now for an extended period of time with the oblique. I was thinking this the other day too. It's like, what is up with these obliques? When we used to watch the Tigers back in the 80s, I don't remember these guys going out with these kind of injuries for the extended period of times that they do.
Maybe they don't drink enough.
Yeah.
You think that's what happened?
I don't know. The old days, those guys, they had tons and tons of beer and liquor all in the clubhouse. I'm sure they still do, but they went away from it, I think, for a minute. But I don't know. Like, they're all injury prone.
And that's
everybody's
that's
injury
the
prone.
thing now with everybody working out. I wonder if it's too much.
Maybe,
too much working out on the body.
It could be,
and in not giving your body enough time to regroup.
It could be. It could be, and a lot of players, maybe their makeup is, and that analytic stuff.
Yeah,
there it is again. Work out this way, do this flex or do this. Sometimes, like Torque said, I just got to go out and hit the ball. Sometimes it's just real simple. Don't overwork out. Do just enough. Like Jack Nicklaus, he wasn't a workout guy. Tiger came with. Tiger was different, but the Bear, he didn't
look at at Tiger himself. What a mess he is physically.
There you go.
And he would, listen to John Daly and the things that he said about him. He'd go out and John Daly be drinking
right
on his second or third Jack Daniels, and you try to get a Tiger to come in and have a drink. No, I got to go work out for 2 hours. I got to hit 1,000 golf balls.
Sometimes just be regular.
Right. Yes.
Sometimes just be regular. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, speaking of analytics, I think the Yankees kind of figured things out a little bit. The thing that's trending right now is the torpedo bat.
I don't know what this is. I heard about it.
Detroit Tigers Now on Instagram
What is it?
had an article that said a few Tigers have placed an order for the torpedo bat.
Is it a brand of bat? It's obviously legal.
It's a legal bat. It just has it looks like it has a wider sweet spot on it.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Yeah. And
we were-
the tapers at the end of it.
Okay.
It's
okay.
not like,
Okay.
like a club,
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Kind of goes like that,
Okay. Okay.
Riley Green said he was intrigued by it. The league says they're legal. I just think they're using the analytics and things. It's smart, and it can help. I mean, if it does, great. Kerry Carpenter and Green referenced a quote from Aaron Judge. What I did in the past couple seasons speaks for itself. He said, "Why try to change something if you have something that's working?" So Judge obviously is not using it, but I think Jazz Chisholm,
Yeah.
he was using it.
I like that kid.
I
Yeah.
think a couple of other was it?
Volpe, man. I like
Yeah.
Volpe. Volpe's an all-star. I like him. But yeah, if it's legal, the Judge is strong as a bull. He doesn't,
Right.
And his swing is good. He's okay. He's just got to get to the postseason. Maybe he wants to use the torpedo bat then, but
Right.
but he's got to get, But yeah, if it works, try it.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, if it works, yeah, go with it, man.
And those quotes were from Chris McCoskey.
Okay.
For the Detroit News. I found that article very interesting. You know what's so funny? We were talking about the bat. I could have swore those bats were kind of, there was kind of those metal bats shaped like that for softball years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know in softball, yeah, you can cork your bat. You can get it, cut. What's they call it? Cut, shaved.
Sure.
And that ball jumps right off. Yeah, you can. People have made lots of money in softball, actually, doing that.
Well, you are watching the Roar Live, Eyes on the Tigers edition, here with Bill and my dad, and of course, Corey Tiez.
Quick question. I got to ask
Yes.
you. So, what is your opening day? What are you going to have food-wise? For
Food-wise.
opening day.
For opening day.
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, I'm sure something from McDonald's. I'll be working when they're.
No, I'm saying, so if you're at the ballpark.
If I'm at the ballpark.
Yeah, what do you have? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm kind of cheap. I probably wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't eat anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I probably wouldn't get anything. But back in the day, when I was paying 50 cents to sit in the center field bleachers. Okay.
Yeah.
$2 hot dog.
Okay.
That works.
So that's the traditional.
That's right.
Hot dog, beer or soda,
right.
and chips, right? That's kind of the.
That would be it.
Okay. Yeah.
Do
That's
you think? I know we talked about it last week. The Tigers are adding so much different type of cuisines and
Yes.
things, and
Yes.
they're bringing in food trucks and different things like that. It's almost like, does it kind of take away from the nostalgia?
I think
It
so.
was always hot dogs,
Apple pie,
Cracker Jacks,
Chevrolet,
peanuts.
peanuts. That's the standard.
Yeah.
That's the opening day gold standard. Peanuts, the Yellers.
Now it's like going to a restaurant.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a big mall
It
food
is.
court.
Well, yeah. Well, look at the Raiders. Yeah, that's just that's a club. It's a party house now.
Right.
It's not the old Tiger Stadium throwback with the hot dog. It's not that. No, not at all. Because it's all everybody. The salaries are different.
Right.
So you got to pay it some way, one way or the other.
So you figure since you're paying $500 a ticket for opening day, that that you probably got to get your money's worth.
Exactly.
food-wise?
Well, they call it now the party. The Tigers opening party is April 4th. Yep. That's what they call it, the party. It's a big deal in Detroit. I think it's one of the biggest. I think they had it on the news a couple years ago how big opening day in the city was. Like bigger than like even Philly and New York, other places, other stadiums. Detroit is like the deal as far as they take it really serious here, opening day. Whether you're bar crawling and watching it from the bar or watching it from the you know, in the Tiger Den or wherever you're doing it, they take it real. Everybody's there. Everybody's there. Another way to get off, you know, day off of work.
Well, they did say if the temperatures hold up, this will be the warmest opening day since 2015 or 16. One of those two. One of those 2 years. I read an article. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's always so cold.
It is. And I think it's going to be like 43.
Yeah.
And with a possible chance of rain.
Well, listen, why don't we delve into the Roar Trivia question again? The Roar Trivia question is, what team has the Tigers played the most on opening day in their now 125th season? Is it the Cleveland? Now, this has been since 1900. They started off as the Cleveland Broncos. They changed their name to the Naps. I believe it was after Nap LaJoy, a former player. And, of course, they changed it. It went to the Indians and then, of course, the Guardians. They haven't played the Guardians since the name change on opening day. So that's why I have the Indians up there. And then the Chicago White Sox, they've been around a long time, just as long as the Tigers. The Red Sox have been around long that time. Yep. And then, of course, Baltimore, who before they were the Orioles, were the St. Louis Browns. And for one season in 1900, they were the Milwaukee Brewers. So they've been around just as long. So it makes you – you guys got a guess? What you want to guess on that one?
I got one.
Sure. What do you think?
I'm going who they play Friday. I'm going White Sox.
White Sox.
Yep.
What do you think?
You know, looking at the, you know, choices we have and taxing my memory, you know, when the divisions were a lot smaller and what have you, I'd be inclined to agree with you, Chicago.
Okay.
Because, you know, it wasn't, you know, the travel, you weren't flying out. There was buses and what, and that's why I would say
That's a good point.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
a good point.
So 2 for Chicago. We'll find out the answer to that as the Roar concludes tonight. Let's go into this. Do you guys have any opening day memories? I mean, for me, you know, my opening day memories would be probably late 70s to now, but I know obviously you've been around a little while now for seasons. You've seen K-Line in the 60s. And do you have any opening day memories?
You know, I think probably for me, it always seemed around opening day, it was almost invariably would be some form of snow.
I was going to say the same thing, yeah.
One of my favorite players, which was notably the Yankee killer, Frank Leary.
Frank Leary.
Frank Leary.
Okay.
Yeah, he beat the Yankees 23 times in his career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, I recall one year he pitched and it was cold and what have you, and I think it messed his shoulder up till you know, sometime during the summer. So that was one of mine because he was you know, that's one of my faves.
Years. What was his career like year wise? Like
About early 50s,
Okay.
maybe the early 60s.
Okay.
But that was more. He was more, you know, the potent person. I'd say from about 55 to maybe 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He had a you know, he still I think holds some records as far as you know, Detroit
Target
pitching and what
okay.
have you. But yeah, he always.
So he was the ace.
Oh, he definitely against the Yankees.
Okay.
Maybe some guys just had, you know,
They had
your
their
number,
number. Right.
and he had theirs.
He had the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What about you opening day?
I'm always every now and then I'll go down to watch it. But I never go to watch. So for the most part, I always watch on TV.
Sure.
I think it was just like one of the really snow. I don't know if it was a Cabrera. That was a pretty exciting game.
Yeah.
It was snow, laced with snow everywhere. But it was heavy snow. I can't remember the exact year, but I was watching on TV. But a lot of times I don't go actually into the opening day. because it's so cold.
Right.
You
How
know,
about the one where he hit the home run in right field?
I think that might have been it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about a second to last.
Yeah.
I think it was second to last year. I think.
Yes.
It might
yes.
even been his last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. That was crazy. Yeah.
Of course, he didn't hit another home run till about
Yeah,
May
right.
sometimes. But
I don't think for me, like, opening day is more for me, I think, the beginning of spring. It's
Yeah,
like the
that's how
final,
you take-
like
yeah.
the winter's finally done,
right.
And summer's on the way.
Yeah.
You know, when you're growing up, Tiger baseball's coming in. You only got a few more weeks of school left.
yep.
You know, it's just like
I agree with
It's just
that.
like the break in the weather.
Yes. Yes.
No, and then there's just something magical about spring training. And then, you know, for me, I think, you know, to listen to Ernie Harwell,
Yeah.
you know, just tell the story of a game, and he doesn't get any better. And that's not taking it away from Dan Dickerson. I think Dan Dickerson's a great play-by-play guy, but there's just something about Ernie Harwell.
Is there something about him?
Like even in the beginning, the
yeah,
montage at
yeah.
the beginning, it just takes you back. That
that
voice
voice-
takes you back.
yeah,
So, him and Scully, right? Mm-hmm. So now, people always say Scully's the best, and they're both great. They're just ridiculously good. But that voice, and thank you, Paul Carey. You know, that I remember him and Paul Carey were great. You know, and even Kaline and Kel.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
love listening to them too.
yeah.
They were excellent. They were excellent.
Ray Lane.
Yes, yes, they were excellent. So yeah, that it's the start of the new. You know, it's kind of the start of the new, almost like a new year it feels. Even though we had New Year's, but it starts like summertime. It's hope with the Tigers.
Did you hear anybody else other than? I mean, Beckman was pretty good on doing play-by-play. Was it? Did you ever hear any games before Ernie did them for the Tigers?
I think probably prior to Ernie, might have been. I think his name was Tyson. I believe. He would have been right around 19.
Okay.
Yeah, early 50s.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I remember listening to him? No, I do. That was a little bit before my
I'll be
time.
honest with you. You know, when you think of games and you think of how opening day is, but you have a lot of memories.
Yeah.
It invokes a lot of memories, especially if you've gone down to the ballpark. You know, some birthdays that I've spent down there as a kid, but I think for me, it's like more than going down there, which is it's fun to watch a game.
It is.
But growing up, like Ernie Harwell being in the car, listening to it on the car while you're going home from a trip, because WJR, you could hear WJR, you know.
That's good
from a
radio
long
listening.
distance. Yeah.
You don't have to watch. You don't have to watch the game. Those guys are so good. The radio, like I used to listen with my grandmother, listening to Ernie and Paul Carey and Kel and Kayla. Back then, I think it was a lot more difficult to call, right? When you say like they didn't have all the stats and everything in front of them and equipment. So yeah, that's what makes them like just above the whole thing. Like they were good at what they did. You know, Mel Allen and all that good stuff. So yeah, opening day it's a special day. It's like I pick it over Valentine's Day. I would.
Well, that's because you're not married.
Single man.
Right. Spoken like a true single man. Yeah. Well, you are watching the Roar Live Eyes on the Tigers edition right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. You can get in on the action. Just scan that QR code on the screen. You can also get in on the chat. If you're watching us on the Kavana Broadcast Network YouTube channel or the My Michigan TV YouTube channel, you can get in on either of those two. You can also catch this broadcast a little later on in the week in audio form on the Cohen Bro Opinion Show podcast site, whether you like to watch it, listen to it on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. We're on a few different places, so
check us out,
it's
please.
nice to be able to hear and see the show on different places.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the question of the week, the Tiger Roar trivia. It's been 100. I said it before. 120. This is the 125th season. which team has the Tigers played most on opening day? Is it Cleveland, Chicago, Boston, Baltimore? Both of you guys said Chicago, which they are playing tomorrow. I had to do some counting on this because it wasn't just, it didn't just come up.
Yeah.
Like some stats and stuff do. So
Because of the name, like because of the Cleveland's different names and things like that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I had to do, and then I had to do. You'd be surprised though, like other teams that the Tigers have played quite a bit on opening day, like the Royals. They played them a few.
Yeah.
They didn't make the list.
Yeah.
Another team, they played the Yankees a couple of times on opening day. Not recently, I don't believe, but probably now with the different alignments with the divisions. But I'm sure back in the day when it was just one league, basically, one division.
Yeah,
they
one
didn't
division,
have East
yeah.
and West.
Right.
So,
Do you like it like that? Would you like that? Go back to that? If it was all
Me?
one?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it because you would go in and you would play a team like 18 times, during the course of, during the course of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm not a real fan with the interleague play and what have you. That's that's just me.
Okay.
it kind of does break down the nostalgia of the game, but they've been playing interleague now for probably almost going on 30 years now.
Almost,
Because I believe I went to the first interleague game at Tiger Stadium when they played the Marlins back in it was in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
I'd went, but it's so funny when you think about different things with the Tigers, especially like interleague play, just how things have changed, and things have changed for the better. But when you only had one league, you had the American and the National. What the Tigers? How many wins do they have in '67? And they lost. They didn't even get into the World Series.
Yeah.
Or game out.
Yeah, but they
lost the last game.
They had 100 wins, didn't they, that year? And then the Yankees had more. I think was it the Yankees or was it Boston?
Well, it was in '62. I think they won 102 games, and they finished 8 games behind New York.
Yeah. So this is a franchise. I mean, it's a storied franchise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's Tigers. They're not bums.
Oh no.
I mean,
no.
the roster looked bummy. But the history of the Tigers is rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've won and pennants and World Series, so they've been to the World Series. It's not like this team, is just not going to be involved in the chase or things like that. So yeah, it's not. It's like them and the. So I always say that the Tigers and Lions, and it's the Cowboys and Yankees. It's something there. I know the Lions hate the Cowboys. I know that for a fact. Tiger fans, they hate the Yankees. So it's kind of like, and all of those franchises, as now with the Lions, but those are storied franchises.
Right.
So the Tigers, hey, get it together. Get back to that 2000. What was the last time the World Series?
84.
No. They went. Not
they
won.
went.
Yeah.
If you win the World Series, that's a little more than that's better than going there and losing. I mean, they had those good runs with the.
So
Justin
I'm
Verlander.
just saying it's rich in tradition.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The stadium, I like Comerica Park too. I mean, it's not like Tiger Stadium, but I like Comerica too. Like,
Do you guys have one game that stands out to you that you might have went to, or maybe listened to it on the radio? Do you have one that sticks out to you that really draws back a lot of memories for you?
I recall, I'm taxing my memory the year, but it was a Sunday afternoon game, and Detroit and New York, and the game proceeded. It was a good game. Rocky Colavito had 7
Rocky
hits.
Colavito. Okay.
7 hits in this game. and Detroit lost in the 23rd inning.
Wow.
The 23rd inning.
That's a
And they had
long.
Jackie Reed hit a home run for New York to win it in the 23rd inning. It was the only home run he hit in the majors.
That's a story.
What about you, Cody? You got any?
I had the one, I can't remember the year. I think A-Rod had just got to New York. And I think I was in Chelios. I had my Yankee hat on. I just bought a very expensive Yankee.
Tell you.
Yeah. I'm a Detroit guy. I know people in it, but Chelios this was a different thing. Everybody, I don't know if it was 06, I can't remember. 06, I think, I don't know. But everybody was going crazy. The Tigers won that game. Everybody was looking at me. I was with my friends from work. I didn't know if I was going to get out safely.
You got booed a couple times when we seen the Yankees.
Yeah.
When you came in with your Yankee
We got
guy.
booed a couple times. Yep. Yeah. So we were together. I think, Scott. I think we were at the. They were playing the Yankees,
Yeah.
and A-Rod and Jeter. Those are my guys. So they were booing. A-Rod, Jeter, you stink. So I stood up. I was like, no, you don't. And everybody was looking at me like, So those times, like those are good times, like going to the stadium, going to the park, going to the bar, and having all these. I love the loudness, the noise, the anticipation of the next pitch. So it was crazy. But yeah, that time in Chelios, man, I didn't know if I was going to get out of there safely. Because everybody was looking, everybody was booing, and but it was fun. It was a good time.
Oh, my.
I think for me, like the game that stands out, a couple games. The first game I ever went to, my dad took me to. We sat up in the upper deck on the third baseline. They played the Blue Jays, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
Yeah, I recall it.
And that was probably about, what, 80, 79, 80?
Sounds about right. No, it was after we moved to Novi, so it might have been like 80, 81, something like that. Yeah.
80, 81. I
It
was
was a good Blue Jay team,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 I remember going to the Tigers in, my birthday's in late September. So, I was always, they were never home on my birthday. They were out of town, but for some reason, I think they were here, and we sat out in the bleachers, but it was rainy.
Yeah.
But it just, I don't know, Tiger Stadium. I love Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Hands down.
It just,
Yeah, hands
don't get me wrong. I think Comerica has a lot of great amenities, and it's a newer ballpark. But I think it was just being at Tiger Stadium, even when you were in the bleachers, and you could yell down to Chet Lemon in the outfield or whoever the opposing center fielder was, and you just were
That
right
was
on
sweet.
top of the action.
Yeah, that was sweet. I actually got a chance to play in Tiger Stadium, 1990, and it was one of the biggest deals of my life. So I'm playing third base. So we got to walk around and just enjoy the park, the dugout, the tunnels. Saw all these spikes and batting gloves just everywhere. And I never forget when we were warming up. I actually stood on the base. The bases are like sponges. They're so soft. Back then, I don't know how they are now, but it was incredible. Like the dirt, and if they didn't manicure it, they didn't come out and do between like they do the pros. But they had it nice and shaped and shaved. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience, and I'll always remember that. And I also there's been a lot of historic things at Tiger Stadium. You had Reggie on the roof.
Yeah.
Didn't Fielder go on the roof?
Yeah.
Frank
Howard.
I believe Kirk Gibson hit it over
Gibson
the roof.
hit. Gibson hit one
in
out.
the lumber yard.
Yeah. I saw King
yeah.
Griffey Jr. Make a play in center field. He actually jumped and reached into the stands and caught the ball. It was the best catch I've ever seen in my life. You can pull it up. He ran all the way into right center. The ball was hit. He did his usual climb. He pretty much snatched the ball from the other side. It was crazy. So yeah, a lot of stuff, man. A lot of good times at the ballpark. A lot of exciting moments. The Gibson, Sparky yelling, the Goose. That was insane.
I mean,
that's just
it was that '84 team just really
best manager of all time.
yeah,
to me,
absolutely. I agree.
I know what. first to win in both leagues.
Well, let me ask you something. The manager that was there for because you were in high school in '68. I'm sure
Mayo Smith.
How did you feel he compared to, say, Sparky? Different group of guys, but Hall of Famers on that team.
Right. Yeah, he was a good manager. He, just put him on the field and let him play. That was the main thing. There wasn't a whole lot of strategizing and everything like like AJ does and what have you.
Right.
He kind of like what?
Yeah, right.
But hey, he almost pulled it off last year. So what can you say?
Right.
The same thing with Sparky. As you mentioned too earlier, he did have some good players.
He did.
He had the big red machine.
He had the big red machine.
And he just basically let the guys play.
Let the guys play, yeah.
You're professionals. You know what to do.
Right.
You don't want to,
Yeah.
don't stay out too late and
Yep,
what have you, and that kind of stuff. And that, a lot of guys, they can relate to that, And some other guys try to micromanage and they just, they can't pull it off,
Yeah, he handled the players. He handled the, you didn't see people getting out of line.
Right.
He kept people in check. It was his way or the highway. And you have to be able to treat everybody different. Now, you can't treat everybody the same, but Sparky did a good job with his players. I mean, he had egomaniacs in the big red machine.
Yeah.
So that's my guy.
Well,
of
let
all
me
time.
ask you something.
Yeah.
Looking back, we weren't around for the '68 World Series. '84 has a lot of good memories to it. We were probably in our teens or getting close to it. What would you say, you seeing the '68 Tigers and the '84 Tigers, which one of those would you say was more nostalgic for you?
Nostalgia, probably '68, I would imagine. Yeah.
Just because of
K-line was still there and what have you, Cash was, still there. Northrop, those are the.
Who was the better team?
Right.
Who was the better team?
The better team.
If you had to put '68 up to '84,
to play against each other, I would say probably the '68. The only reason I would say that is because of pitching.
Pitching, okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Lolich, McLean, and they Detroit yanked up guys off of the pile heap. Dick Raditz, he was a big, minor, not a minor. He made the All-Star team a lot of years at Boston. He was their big closer. They got him. They had Elroy Face.
Okay.
Oh, they got him from. He came from Pittsburgh. He had that one year. He won. He was just a relief pitcher. But he won 17 straight games.
Wow.
Lost one and won another one after that. That was the year I think it was 60, I think, when they went to the World Series. I think it was 60. And I'm trying to think. John Wyatt came from, they got him from Kansas City. But like I say, they were like the tail end of their career, but he just
put it all together.
He brought him in and bang. And John Hiller was on, that team too. Yeah,
I mean, the Tigers were good after '68.
Yeah.
They had some good.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
they were. I mean,
They were good after '84.
Yeah.
Well,
they.
'72 they went to playoffs.
Yeah.
They lost to Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that Oakland team was.
Oh, they were monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been hard to beat them.
Good stuff.
And then we talked about it before. I think it's more growing up when you were a teenager. I think maybe with it being a hometown team, like with my dad saying '68, with me '84. Because let's just say they would have won it when Verlander was here.
Yeah.
I still think '84.
Yeah.
I would have said
That's it. Yeah. No question.
even if they were to win it in the next couple of years,
Yeah.
I'd still say '84. Maybe because growing up with those guys like Trammell and Whitaker and Lemon and Parrish, I mean, I don't know. I just
That was good baseball.
Nostalgic wise, you kind of go back to your teen years for some reason, right?
Yeah. I was interested in every game they played. Wonderful.
Well, you are watching the Roar live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. You're watching us here on the Kavana Broadcast Network, YouTube, and, of course, the My Michigan TV YouTube. The question of the week, the Roar Trivia. Which team has the Tigers played most on opening day? Is it Cleveland, Chicago, Boston, or Baltimore? That is the question. You guys said you guys think it's Chicago, who they play tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the home series, they got 3 against the White Sox starting tomorrow. Everybody's 2-4 in the division.
Everybody's in first place.
I mean,
everybody's in first place. Everybody's in last place.
Yeah. Does it? I know we'll probably take a look around the league here in a minute, but is it surprising to you that everybody's 2-4?
No.
In the Central? Is it just because the quality of teams now?
The quality of teams. If you look at the American League, most of the teams stink. Seattle stinks. Chicago stinks. Oakland stinks. The Angels stink. I mean, just look at it. The Royals, you never know what, the Twins stink. So National League is probably going to win the World Series again. But you got American League East that kind of saves it.
Blue Jays are 5-2.
Blue Jays are 5-2.
Is that surprising?
No. Blue Jays they're steady. I mean, they're the Tampa and Blue Jays, they're feisty kids. They're always gonna, that division is gonna always be a toughie, and they're not the greatest of teams. You know what I mean? Like it's just not that good in the American League. Not to me. Texas, Angels, just not good.
Mm-hmm. Texas are 5-2 in the West.
Okay, and they always do this. They'll hang around and they'll fall off at the end or something, but.
Was it shocking to you last year that they fell off after winning the World Series 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was. Because they were bad. They fell. I mean, yeah, that was. Who won that world? Who was it manager Bochy?
Yes.
He did.
Yeah, Bochy.
Yeah, another great one. Yeah. So I just all around throughout the American League. Houston's probably going to, win that out there again.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, you got any predictions for the next 3 games with the White Sox?
Sweep.
Got to. What do you think?
I don't care about this season young. You got to sweep them.
You think you need to sweep?
I would. Well, of course, I'm a diehard fan. Yeah, we want to sweep them. That's just an old man speaking.
Right. You got sweep.
Well, we got Flaherty going tomorrow. Am I right on that?
Mm-hmm.
They need to take that game.
Got to get it.
Mize has pitched well.
He has. I think he struck out, 15 out there, something like that? 10 or something, I don't know, something crazy. But, yeah, you better sweep this series. I don't want to hear, the Tigers 2, no, sweep it. Sweep them. If you are who you think you are going to be and say who are you, if you, now because there's no luxury of, this is the same old Tigers. You're not the same old Tigers now. Mm-hmm. Not from after last year. And you need to start pouring on some wins to get out in front. Get out in front because you're not going to do what you did last year.
Yeah, I think their approach this year is a little bit different than it was at the last year.
Yeah.
They're trying to obviously they didn't have the hitting and what have you.
Yeah.
Let's manufacture some runs, and they kind of gotten away from that this year. Come on now, it's your turn to hit a home run, and it doesn't happen.
And that's where you get crazy. That's where things start to fall off. You
forget where you came from.
Forget where you came from. Wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. Wisdom by William.
So what you're saying, though, Co, is if they have to win 3 against the White Sox because you think they're going to lose 3 against the Yankees?
Well, that's the plan. And I don't want the Yankees to come in here and lose 1. Sweep the Tigers. Well, sometimes, but baseball's not like football.
That is true.
Baseball is a different game. That's what makes it so beautiful. because the Tigers could have beat the Dodgers. They could have.
Oh, yeah.
That's what makes it so beautiful. But the teams, you still got to kind of beat the teams that – because Vegas sends out a ranking.
Right.
And the White Sox are nowhere near you.
Right.
So take care of business because you need that extra game.
Right.
You don't want to be 2-1. Just take the 3. If you take the 2, take the next one. That's how I look at it.
Well, it was Casey Stengel when he was, with the Yankees manager. He said his approach was this: the bad teams, I want to play at least 80%, beat them 80% of the time. The good teams, split with them.
There you go.
And it was always a
still
winning
makes sense today.
combination. It was a winning combination.
Absolutely.
Well, you have been watching the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV. Let's go to the trivia question, and I'm gonna unveil the answer. Which team has the Tigers played most on opening day? Is it the Cleveland Indians, now Guardians? Is it the Chicago White Sox? That's the answer that my dad Bill and Corey came up with. I unfortunately can't answer this question because I know the answer. Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles. All 4 of these teams have been in the league 125 seasons, but the winner or the answer to this question is A, the Cleveland Indians. They have played them since 1900, 34 times out of 125. And I don't think so. It was close with Chicago, guys. They played them 21 times.
Okay. I knew it wasn't C or D. I knew that for a fact.
Now, but it was a close second with the Browns or the Baltimore Orioles. That was 17 also. The Red Sox were only 7.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised. They've played the Twins a lot on opening day.
They have.
They've kind of racked up, and it's probably over the past 20 years they've played them more on opening day, just because, with the realignment of the divisions and stuff. But 34 for the Cleveland Indians, now the Guardians. Now, they haven't played the Guardians on opening day.
Those are the guys that knocked you out.
Yep. Those are the guys that knocked us out
last year.
Well, listen, folks, we would like to thank you for coming along with us tonight here on the Roar Live Eyes on the Tiger edition. You can catch us on the Kavana Broadcast Network and the My Michigan TV YouTube sites. You can also catch this in audio form on your favorite podcasting platform under the Co and Bro Opinion Show. And so much to talk about next week. We will be on Thursday again, and we'll know the outcome of the next 6 games. And hopefully the Tigers can head in with a winning record.
We will see. We will see. Go Yankees, because I don't.
Well, you knew where he was going with that, especially with the hat, right?
Yeah. Let's go Yankees. Take care of business.
But we're gonna bid you adieu right here on the Roar Live. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
I'm Scotty Williams, that's Corey Tiez, and that's Bill Keeball. Yes.
Stay safe, everybody.
We'll see you next time on The Roar.